Welcome, loyal fans. Today we are back for the first race of the Manufacturers' Cup. My name is Matt Armstrong and I will be your host for today's race. With this being the Manufacturers' Cup, it's needed to select a manufacturer to drive all 6 races for. Let's take a look to see what manufacturer Dordanov has chosen for this particular cup. How fun. It's Volkswagen, the car that did surprisingly well in the test rounds for the last cup, where the Nissan eventually won the selection after all the tests. The Beetle did remain one of the favourites, so it's no big surprise it returns for this specific cup. Now let's take a look at some of the details of the race for today. This race takes place on the well-known Spa-Francorchamps, and since this is the Manufacturers' Cup, the car of choice is the Group 3 version of our car, the Volkswagen Beetle. Contrary to the previous Manufacturer Cup races we participated in, there are some races that also use the Group 4, or essentially GT4 cars. So the Sirocco will also be used in 2 of the 6 races. Qualifying will last for the default 5 minutes, and the race itself is a pretty decent 20 laps. Only the racing medium slicks can be used. But once again we have random weather for this race, so there is a possibility for rain as well. There is one mandatory pit stop for this race. But the chance of rain, that might be a good reason to make a stop, but fuel might also be an issue. The race starts with only enough fuel for about 16 laps. If it rains, that will probably help in fuel usage, but it is something to keep in mind for the stop nonetheless. Lastly, Dordanov's best practice lap was a 2-minute 18.858. With it being a pretty lengthy track, I reckon anything in the 2-minute 19 range is considered a pretty decent lap. Now all that info is out of the way, there is one thing I want to do right now, and that is take a look at the livery before we start. A special car like the Beetle deserves a special look. So this time Dordanov has not made an umbrella livery, but rather a more specific one. I would say take a look at this reveal. Yes, that is indeed a Herbie-inspired livery from the classic movies. It's not a one-to-one copy of it, since the car is a bit different. So just like the car itself, it's also updated to a little bit different, a more modern version. It came out pretty good, I must say, although it's a shame the cup races always enable the default Gran Turismo race numbers on the cars. But the basics on it will still work. Now I did get some questions about why the Beetle and why Herbie. And well, there are 2 good reasons for that. So yeah, there's that. Now that you have all seen the car in detail, we can move on to the race itself. Let's go! As always, we will take a look at the qualifying first. Sadly, this is all the footage we have from the qualifying session. Apparently, Dordanov made a mistake while checking if the recording was running and accidentally stopped it. So we have to make do with this screen for now. We see that the guy in pole has some insane pace. It's clear he doesn't belong in this bracket. It's probably the case of an A+ ranked driver starting a new account and working his way back up through the ranks. So it's essentially smurfing, but nothing to be done about that. All that can be done is try for the best and see where that takes us. A 7th place is not the best, but there is some pace left considering the lap time. Hopefully that opens up some possibilities down the line. When we look at the weather radar, we see that some rain clouds have been moving towards the track in the past hour. That rain will definitely hit the track during the race. So keeping an eye on the radar during the race is going to be very important. Enough blabbering for now though. Let's go racing. Luckily, Dordanov is just far enough to the front to not start in the bus stop chicane. If you are unlucky here, you start right in the middle of it, and that will cost you quite some time at the start. These lag spikes from the Russian in front are not what you want to see if you are following closely.
All right, mate. You can't park there, sir.
That was the guy who started in second place. The first position is already won now. another lag spike. This is getting pretty risky when cars start jumping all over the place. A little contact from the Russian battling with the Ferrari and getting a suboptimal exit, and here is the opportunity for the overtake. Even a little bump draft from behind here. That is very welcome. A quick look at the radar here shows that rain is still imminent. And there is a tiny mistake from the Ferrari, enough for Dordanov to pull alongside. He will have the outside line in the next corner, but inside line in the one after that. And that was enough. Very nice side-by-side racing. It will take a while to catch up to the drivers in front. Let's skip forward a bit until we have some more action on our hands.
Hello, Adventscape!
We jump back in halfway into lap 5. Dordanov has caught up with the drivers in second and third place. The windshield wipers turning on announce the fact that the rain is now starting. The decision has to be made to pit right now or wait an entire lap. With the rain moving in really slow, Dordanov takes a wild gamble that the track will take a while to get wet. He will have to be able to finish the entire lap without making mistakes for this gamble to pay off.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
If it works though, he will have far fresher tyres for the rest of the race. When the track is too dry, the intermediates and wets will wear very fast, and you will feel that for the remainder. Let's do a quick recap of the moisture meter. The bottom third is where slicks are still viable. If then moisture reaches the middle part, slicks are no longer viable and intermediates will need to be used. Should the meter get into the top third, the track is truly soaked and full wets will be your best option. We see a total of 4 drivers have skipped the pit stop for now as well. The rest of the field has pitted. Almost halfway around the track and things are still looking good. The water levels are steadily rising though. The first signs of losing grip are showing. Moisture is in the middle part already. Let's see if Dordanov is careful enough here.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
He should have been on the brakes way sooner here. Sadly, he had a brain fart and thought he would be fine braking at the regular brake marker. Quite a costly mistake. Now he has to try to rush to the pits on a very slippery surface. Well, he finally made it. Let's see how the other 4 drivers on slicks behind him managed. It was like a bowling alley out there. It could almost be done, but the lap was just a tad too long for it to truly work out. He comes back out in 7th place. That's a shame. There is a lot of ground to cover to get back to where he was in 4th place. This will take a while, so we will skip to the next bit of action.
There's a drag skip.
We join back up in lap 8. A bit further ahead we see a group of cars that is being reeled in.
You can't park that there, mate.
Fuck off.
The pack of cars ahead is still pretty far off, so let's skip forward a bit again.
The sword of skip.
We join back up in lap 12. The rain is still coming down harder than expected, and the water levels are just within full wet range. Dordanov is banking on the fact that the rain will let up near the end of the race and the intermediates will come to life at that point. But for now it means he is struggling versus some of the other drivers that did go for the full wet tyres in their stop. And that's just the difference. Dordanov has to be a bit more careful while the track is soaked. Doesn't look like he will get these places back soon. Let's skip forward a bit again.
Here's the sword of skip.
We are now in lap 14. The two drivers that overtook him in lap 12 are still in sight, and they have someone in their sights to overtake. Let's see if Dordanov can manage to sneak past as well. That move is going to be a bit too risky. Better to play it safe and both live to fight another day. It's a risk to try and overtake on the outside here, but so far this is a race where people give each other space, and it should be possible. And that worked out simply lovely. Got the better exit and managed to get the power down. It also looks like the rain is finally settling down a bit. The lap times on the right side of the screen are slowly improving. Hopefully now is the time to close the gap back up to the drivers in front and see if there are opportunities for an overtake. And just like that, another place is won back, slowly moving back up towards the front. It will take a bit to get close to the Spaniard in front and for some action to come from that. So let's do a final skip towards the end of the race.
The sort of skip.
Dordanov has mostly been right up to the gearbox of the Spaniard in front for the last 2 laps. Hashtag no homo. Let's see if he manages to get past in this final part of the race. At the edge of the screen we can see that the driver of McLaren with the name I can't pronounce has picked up a 0.5 second penalty. And now arch-rival Manjun in the BMW has also picked up a penalty. If Dordanov and the Spaniard can manage to stay close to them, it might be possible to overtake them both. Would you look at that? Both of them got past. If Dordanov can now manage to snake his way past the Spaniard, he might end up back on the podium. And there it was. Nicely profited from the Spaniard taking a suboptimal line through the corner. Taking maximum advantage of the dry line on the intermediates also helped, of course. All he has to do now is not make any mistakes and bring Herbie home, then the podium should be his. blue flags being waved here are for a straggler just ahead who is being lapped. Not for Dordanov, of course. And there we have it. The Smurf who won the race had such a massive lead that the game didn't even show the post-race standings and instantly ended the lobby by the time the rest of the drivers crossed the line. But just so you can take a look, the results are also in this screen. And we even managed to get a fan for the Herbie livery here as well. Never a bad thing to make some friends in case you bump into each other in a future race. The race had its ups and downs, but it was a very fun race to participate in with some clean and close racing. 149 points pocketed as well. Off to a great start for the Manufacturers' Cup. Hopefully it turns out to be a good series. For good measure, I will leave you with these standings after the first race. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.